What's up, guys? This is a no bullshit 5-step guide to making 6 figures as a self-employed entrepreneur. Welcome to my channel, Better Man. My name is Gabe. This channel is all about helping young men along the roads of their self-improvement journey. Really quickly, I just want to take a time to shout out all the new subscribers and just the people who have been engaging with my content, liking, commenting. You know, it really means a lot to me. I'm glad that I'm providing some sort of value and that you are all enjoying it. Let's just go ahead and jump into the video. So quickly, I'm just going to talk about my journey as an entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur for about a year and a half now. And what I mean by that is I have been working for myself. Currently, I am a self-employed personal trainer. I started out kind of in this personal training journey early on, I guess you could say. You know, I've always been fascinated with fitness, with lifting weights, all of that. And in college, I studied kinesiology, originally with the goal of going to school for physical therapy. But, you know, when I was in between school and I was volunteering at a physical therapy clinic to make some money while I was doing that before going to grad school, I began to work at a gym. And I really fell in love with it. I really enjoyed personal training and what it provided for people. It was fun for me. It felt fulfilling. But I was making shit money, barely scraping by $2,000 a week, or excuse me, a month, like, you know, maybe $2,500 on a good month. It didn't have much upside. What I knew was, let me look out there and see if there is more, right? What are the people who are the top personal trainers in the field making? And when I dug more into that, I realized I shouldn't give up on this completely. You can do really well for yourself. And that's kind of what spawned this journey of where I'm at today. So I want to go ahead and talk you through 5 steps, which I believe if you follow these, you will be able to generate 6 figures a year as a self-employed entrepreneur. Now, I do want to give the caveat, I got to be honest, I haven't actually made 6 figures yet. But this year, I'm set to do about 80 to 90,000, and you know, since at the beginning of the year my business was still getting its footing, next year I fully expect to make well over 6 figures. So I wanted to be honest, you know, that technically I haven't made it yet, but I still have my business fully in place to be a 6-figure business, right? So, you know, for the past several months I have made what a 6-figure entrepreneur makes per month. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Number 1 is going to be acquire a skill. This is if you haven't already acquired one, right? So take some time and just kind of go over an inventory with yourself. Do I have any skills that would be valuable to a marketplace, right? Can I play an instrument? Well, teaching music lessons, that's a skill. Am I good at math, science, tutoring? That's a skill for me. Personal training, a skill. Do I have knowledge of how to build a really good Instagram profile? Okay, that's something a lot of people want to do. That's a skill that could be valuable in the marketplace that people would be willing to pay for. You need to take inventory of, do I have any skills that have value? And if the answer honestly is no, I need to acquire a skill. Now, when acquiring a skill, optimally, it's going to be something that you really enjoy and are passionate about. You know, people say don't follow your passion. It needs to be something that's viable from a business standpoint. But if you really enjoy it and are passionate about it, it's going to be way more likely that you can devote an inordinate amount of time to this pursuit and become successful at it. So if you really hate it, don't make that the skill. You don't have to love it, but make sure you at least like it and find it interesting, right? Next, in this acquire a skill, when looking for the skill you're going to acquire, you need to identify the potential that this prospective skill has, right? What is the income generating potential? So if you look at a music teacher, you can say, okay, what does the average music teacher make hourly? Okay. What does the top music teacher make hourly? Okay, maybe, you know, 200, but they have a PhD in music. So you just have to get an understanding of the market as a whole just to see where down the line you could have potential to rank. Because if the 1% are making 6 figures and most people aren't, but you truly believe that you could be a 1% in your field, don't give up on it. That's kind of what I saw when I Googled, what do personal trainers make? I have it on my screen right now. ZipRecruiter, 31,000 to 79,000 per year. Glassdoor, 31,000 to 90,000 per year. Salary.com, 85 to 100,000 per year. It looks like, and you look at, barely anyone's making six figures percentage wise. And it looks like, wow, that's really hard. But now that I'm more ingrained in this field, I know plenty of high six-figure entrepreneurs making 140,000 plus a year. And that's just in-person personal training. When you take the online potential of building online business as well, there's seven-figure entrepreneurs out there. So when you first look at something, it can be easy to say, ooh, barely anyone does well. But look at what the best in the field do, because maybe you can really be the best. That was number one. You need to acquire a skill, and if you don't already have one, and when acquiring the skill, identify that potential that skill has. Another thing I would throw in there is this skill recession proof? So, I think to a degree personal training is. There's always going to be people who have money, who care about their bodies and want that, but also it is a luxury to a degree, right? Like if everyone's tight on cash, personal training, people will say, I need to take time away from this. So it's not fully recession proof, and that, I guess, is a knock against it. Number two is going to be identify how the most successful people in your field got there and then plan accordingly, right? For me, I was able to identify, I'm making shit money working for a gym. This is not a long-term viable option. But I did some internet research and I found that, there's this gym in my area where you just pay a monthly flat rent and you build your own clientele, you're self-employed, and it says that people are making six figures. And I looked more into that and I found that, the vast majority of entrepreneurs in personal training who are making six figures or more, like nearly all of them were self-employed. So I identified, that is one of the ways I can be successful in the field. I need to be self-employed because the gym just simply takes too much of a cut. Next, you need to determine what rate do you need to charge based on the hours that you are willing to work or would need to work, right? So I just kind of calculated this out really quick, but accounting for $80 per hour session for personal training, if I did 32 hours a week and I took a month off a year, right? A full month off, being conservative here, and my rent is $700, but let's just say that, rent plus some marketing expenses, I'm being conservative again, comes out to $1,000 a month. After that, I would still make over six figures. That's obviously before tax, but net. So I was able to calculate that out. And again, I'll probably, I work more than 11 months a year, right? I don't take a full month off every year. But when doing this, I was conservative with my estimate because I wanted this to be something where I can definitely make six figures, right? Again, 32 hours a week. For training, that is a lot. Like, it's a taxing profession. That's a lot. But, many people work 40 to 50 hours a week. So, again, I was being conservative because I really wanted to make sure this is something that, without, being insane and burning myself out, it's still attainable to make six figures. And when you calculate it out like that, I realized, wow, $80 per session, 32 hours a week. Well, I could work more than 32 hours a week. I could probably sustain 35 to 40, right? Or, down the line, I know 80 per session is maybe on the higher end of average, but I've spoken to some trainers who charge over 100. Wow, so I could do $100 a session and maybe even my hours go down to the high 20s, still making over six figures. So you need to think about, what's average in your field, what's the high end, and realistically, what will you initially have to do, but what could you do? And that's where the next thing comes in, and that's you got to self-assess your worth. That's point number 3. Self-assess your worth. Can I charge what I need to make six figures yet? And when I came into training and I was working for a gym, I was charging $50 an hour, and the gym was getting most of that, right? And $50 an hour, you have to work a good amount, even when you're self-employed, to make six figures. Then I upped it to 65. And, with 65, you can work in the low 30s of hours a week and you can make six figures a year. But now at 80, it's to the point where, I can definitely make six figures without killing myself. I wasn't confident in that initially, right? So I had to get some experience under my belt before I could charge 80. I had to have other trainers say, Gabe, we see the quality of service you provide. I think it's time you increase your prices. And when people gave me that confidence, I was able to raise it. But, it took time for me to build the confidence and increase my abilities to have the worth to charge that much. So, self-assess your worth and know that there's things you just don't know. So you might have to talk to other people in your field initially. But initially starting out, will you be able to charge enough to make six figures? Possibly, and maybe you just have to work more, or possibly not. But it's a long-term play, right? Look at if down the line you'll be able to do that if you increase your worth and your skill set enough. If you can't charge enough to make six figures yet, think, how can I get there? And in personal training, you can increase your skill set. You can increase your marketing. So I know some trainers who charge a lot, and I don't think they're great trainers, but they're very good salesmen. They're very charismatic. So I'm not knocking them, right? I'm just saying that increasing skill set is one way, but also increasing your marketability is another way. And sometimes people will get confused and think that they need to increase their skill set more, when in reality, it's really that they just need to market themselves more and get themselves out there to new clients. And, that's going to go into this next point number 4, which is you need to pick several avenues of marketing and building your business, and then you need to stay consistent. The caveat to this, or I guess the add-on to this, is double down on what begins to bear fruit first. All right. So when marketing, I initially came in and I brought some clients with me from the gym I'd previously been working at. For the first 4 months, maybe even 5 months, I got 0 new clients, and I was just making enough to scrape by, but it was stressful because I had no new clients. But I knew the paths because I talked to everyone else at this gym and I picked their brains, and I was able to identify and ascertain the paths to obtaining new clients. And I broke it down into, okay, there's this website called Thumbtack. People make profiles there, they get leads there. Okay, you can have a website. People can organically find you on the internet. You can make a Google business account, get reviews for that. People can find you through that. Referrals. Your clients can like you. You've been doing good service for them for a while. They will, refer you to other people. Relationships. Oh, wow, I noticed that trainer was really busy and he gave that other trainer a client because he just couldn't take anyone on. So I identified all of these and I immediately went to work into developing each one, right? So I built a Thumbtack profile. Not only did I build it, I talked to trainers, I did research, I found out how to make the most optimal Thumbtack profile. One trainer told me, well, I started doing great on Thumbtack after I got a really professional photo, a headshot taken, because most people's photos suck. So I noted that. I got a headshot taken, boom, put it up. Started getting some hits on it, but not as much as I wanted. I talked to another trainer. He said, oh, you need to change your settings to this. So I'm slowly making this better. At the same time, I'm building relationships with other trainers, genuinely, being authentic, no real motive in mind, but a trainer I knew decides he's going to move. He has a big clientele. What does he do? He says, Gabe, I like you. I think you're a good trainer. Do you want to take these 6 clients? And, for the first 2 months, I'm going to take 50%. After that, they're yours. Well, that was huge for me, right? Because that was something where it just catapulted my business. And I knew that for the first 2 months, I was going to be not making much money, but I saw that future and I was willing to hold out for it. So that was huge. The website, I made the best website I could. I started getting Google reviews. And those last 2 really didn't generate anything for a long time. My referrals, I wasn't getting referrals. And I thought, I'm a good trainer. Why am I not getting these? But it didn't matter because I had found a couple things that were producing results, and I doubled down on those. Now, about a year and a half into my business, it's been cool to see that all of those avenues have begun to bear fruit, right? So, referrals just took a little time. Now I've begun to get referrals. Internet, I just got my first, natural organic lead through my website where somebody just found me on the internet and reached out to me. And that's because slowly, by writing blog posts, by posting things and linking my website, by getting more reviews so that it stands higher in the searches in my area, more people are seeing my website. But that took time. I continued to nurture all of these, but at the same time, when something started to work, I doubled down on that. So that is really important as well. And some other things I wrote down here, build relationships with your colleagues, social media. I did do that as well. And, that took a lot of time before I saw any really benefit from that. Social media was good because people who I would meet in real life who would follow me, it would just kind of remind them, oh yeah, Gabe's a trainer. So that was helpful as well. Number 5 is going to be accept that it will take time. And what I put is at least a year to really figure things out. So I'm a year and a half in, and there's still things I'm really finding and fine-tuning, right? So things like this are going to be, how much do I need to save for taxes? How do I do my bookkeeping? Scheduling. What hours am I willing to work so I don't burn out? Waivers. What business licenses do I need? What's the way that I communicate with my clients through text? Do I charge them month to month? Do I use this app? All of these things are going to take time to figure out. And I recommend talking to colleagues in the field, using the internet, trial and error to figure all this out. But I've really found that some of it you just have to learn through trial and error, right? Like when I was not even that busy in this business, doing, maybe 20 hours a week at most, I burnt myself out. And that's because I had the wackiest schedule. I would do a 7 a.m. session, maybe a 6 a.m., and I'm not a morning person. And then I would do an 8 to 9 p.m. session. My days off was Wednesday and Saturday. So my days off weren't in a row. And I got really burnt out doing this. Now, I'm pretty busy. I'm working 30 plus hours a week usually. And I've been able to sustain this because I have certain things I found work for me. I never work before 8 a.m. I never work after 8 p.m. I've had to turn down clients because of this. But what it's done for me is it's allowed me to sustain what I'm doing. So let me just really quick summarize these 5 points. Number 1, acquire a skill. You need to acquire a skill if you don't have one. If you do, great. Is this skill viable to make you money? Number 2, identify what the most successful people in your field are doing financially and what it's taking for them to do that. Number 3, self-assess your worth. Am I there yet? If I am there, I simply just need to market myself more and let people know that I'm there and I'm worth it. If I'm not there, what steps do I need to take, whether it's continuing education, internships, what do I need to take to get there? Number 4, pick several avenues. Stay consistent with these avenues. It's going to take time to reap the rewards. When one starts reaping rewards for you, double down on that one. Don't completely stop putting time and effort into the other avenues, but disproportionately put your time into the one that's working, right? And number 5, accept that it's going to take time to really figure it out. I think I started feeling like I had a certain measure of success in my business, maybe 7 months in, and about a year in, I was feeling really good. Now about a year and a half in, I feel solid. I feel really, really good about it. I think there's just still things I need to improve on, right? Like bookkeeping is something I need to get better at and find a more streamlined system to do it. I know that there's ways I can increase my prices further, deliver more value to my clients. You need to constantly put effort into this organism, right? It's not something when you're self-employed that you can really become complacent in. I guess you can, but if you really want to be the most successful in your field, it's something you have to constantly be putting time into, feeding it and nurturing it. So I hope this video was really helpful. I figured, I literally have done this, right? I've literally built a business which is on track to be a 6-figure business per year. I've done all the failures, I've made all the mistakes. I've tried what works, I've tried what doesn't work. So I just wanted to distill that knowledge in this video for you all. I just wanted to come with applicable advice today. So I hope you all really appreciated the video, enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and like. I'm coming with the best content I can produce. I only want to give you guys the best value and just grow this so that we can improve together. So thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.